Yeah, g'day YouTubers. What I've got here is a Merida Espresso 800 pedelec bike. In Australia, the bikes are limited to 250 watts maximum and speed limited to 25 kilometres an hour. I use this bike for commuting to work on bike paths, so that's requirement for if you're riding on the roads, but because I ride on bike paths, yeah, I wanted the speed to be a little bit more than 25 kilometres an hour. So it's the Shimano STEPS Mid drive setup. And I read reports of where people have taken the speed sensor that goes on the frame here and actually picks up the magnet off the wheel to measure your wheel speed. They've removed the speed pickup from here, put on the outside of the frame and put a magnet on the crank. So as the crank passes, it senses now crank speed instead of wheel speed, and as a result, you can go a lot faster, which is determined by your gear ratio on the bike. But I'd also read reports of where that had actually, the Shimano setup can actually detect that the crank speed or whatever is travelling at the same speed as what it thinks the wheel's doing, and if it does it for too long, it creates an error. So what I thought I'd do is I did the same sort of thing that other people have done. I just hot glued the speed sensor, the magnetic pickup underneath the frame here, and I hot glued a magnet on the top of the inner ring gear protector and another one at the bottom, which I won't bother showing you. So now it's got two magnets on the crank instead of just one, and the Shimano system doesn't seem to detect that, and so now the bike, instead of only being limited to 25 kilometres an hour with the gear ratio that I have here in top gear, I can do about 32 kilometres an hour, I think, 32 or 35 kilometres an hour, so which is quite quick on a bike path. And yeah, I just find that now I just don't run into that speed limit all the time, which sort of gets annoying. The only problem that this presents is the speedometer now and the odometer for your distance, and now that only shows 25 kilometres an hour when you're actually doing 32 kilometres an hour. And also this bike's equipped with the Nexus hub with the Di2 electric shift on it, and before you used to be able to put that into automatic and it would change gears automatically, and so as you sped up or as you slowed down, it would automatically shift gears for you. But now, because it's now measuring crank speed instead of wheel speed, it will shift down whenever you stop pedaling. So I now have to run it in manual mode all the time and just shift manually, which doesn't really bother me. And one of the other things to consider is also, of course, it uses quite a bit more, drains the battery quite a bit more, because now it's assisting you at a higher speed. So that doesn't really bother me. I only have a short commute to work, and so the battery normally lasts me 5 or so days. So yeah, I don't worry about that. But yeah, I just thought I'd put it out there for anybody else that's got a Shimano STEPS set up and wants to get a little bit more speed out of it. This definitely works on this firmware version. I only put it on with hot glue just as a temporary setup, just to see if it worked, and it works quite well. So I'll perhaps do something a bit more permanent. And also, one other thing to consider is the magnets that I used here. I can't remember even where I found them. I just got them from somewhere. I probably could have used ones that were a bit thinner, because it tended to hit this case around here a bit further. So if you're going to try it with thinner magnets. Maybe don't use too much hot glue like I've done. Yeah, but seems to work quite well, so just thought I'd put that out there for anybody else that's interested. Thanks very much.